Hey guys, Harley from Cricket Fanatics Magazine here with another episode of On Lockdown. Sorry it's taken so long, but we needed to make sure that the next one was special. So we've gotten Dayyaan Galiem on the show today, and it's going to be an opportunity for all of us, including myself, to get to know him better. Even though we have spoken to him before, I've spoken to him many times before, others think that this is a different type of way for you guys to interact with him and get some comments in the comment section, of course, and ask him as many questions as you want to. We'll try to get to as much of them as possible. So you guys know what to do before we bring him on the show. I just want you guys to click the like button, subscribe to the show, click the notification bell, do all of those things, share it with your friends, with your family, etc. And don't forget to get your questions in the comment section. So without further ado, let's introduce you to Dayyaan. How's it, Dayyaan? How are you doing?
Yeah, good in you.
I'm
How's
good,
things
thank you,
going?
man. Not good. As great as it can be in the situation that we are in.
Yeah, I guess it's not ideal.
Yeah. So for you as a cricketer, obviously, how's it been for you in the lockdown and etc. And has it been difficult for you to keep sane during this period?
It's been okay. I've had good people around me all the time, so I've been able to keep sane. I suppose I can say that. But I've been down and out in terms of I had a stress fracture actually just after the season. It was actually through the season a little bit towards the end,
Mm.
and then I got a MRI scan when as soon as I could go into the took Semley. I don't know if you know about Semley, but yeah, went for a scan, MRI scan, and it turned out I had a stress fracture. So I was
What's
in
up?
a moon boot and some crutches for 6 weeks, and now I'm busy with my rehab process and all that. So it's getting there. It was very slow. It was tough because I couldn't do
Mm.
anything. And you're sitting at home and not doing anything, so you can't even
Yeah.
move around much or anything. So it wasn't easy, but I had good people around me. Yeah, so that helped me through it, and yeah, it wasn't was they made it a lot easier. So
Yeah,
can't complain.
of course. Yeah. Like I mean, yeah, we're bringing it up now already. I was gonna only bring it up later, but you've had quite a few major injuries in your career. I mean, we know famously the one that kept you out of that 2014 World Cup squad. And I mean, they went on to win it, and I know that was a difficult period in your life and in your career. As advice to younger cricketers also that would hit the hurdles that you have. I mean, you've always come back stronger, always come back on top, and no matter what injuries that you went through, you've managed to come out of it stronger. Can you give some advice to others out there, and what pushed you through that? How did you deal with that? I mean, obviously you were always a talent and always seen as a great talent, and then you get hampered by something that's out of your control.
Uh, there was tough times. Obviously, you're really excited and all that, and literally on the day that the guys are traveling, you have to travel home. So all the excitement was there and all of
Mm.
that, and yeah, the next thing you know, you're sitting with an injury, and I guess it's just part of I've kind of got a little bit used to it, and but it does hold you back a little bit. Obviously, injuries hold everyone back. But I think it's important to just stay strong in the moment, stay strong mentally, and have good people around you to help you through situations and push you to do better than what you were doing before that. I was very fortunate now to I pushed through and I pushed and pushed, and I was always gonna, as soon as the season ended, I was always gonna do the MRI scan to check what's going on. So I was waiting patiently for the end of the season. So yeah, I mean, now I've been trying to manage it more. So I think I've been managing it a lot better than what I used to in the past. But it's important to do what's necessary. I spoke to a couple of people before, and a couple of guys, and they said, I have a different body to some others. Some others might not have to do as much as me in terms of work as hard on their body,
Mm.
or in terms of stretching and this and yoga and whatever. And I just might have to be one of those people that might have to make a shift in terms of that, to do more of
Mm.
those boring yoga and stretching and Pilates and those things that add value to your body. So yes, it's boring, and yes, it's not great, but it's something that I have to probably do, and I've been doing it of late. So yeah, see how it goes, and yeah, obviously I might have to do more strengthening someone else in certain areas.
Mm.
So you know, um, I'm just happy to be at this level, and I'm happy to be with the guys, and so whatever I have to do, you have to do. So people are different. So the advice I would give is identify where your weaknesses are, identify what you have to do as an individual to get your body right, and just stay strong mentally. Like stay strong, and there's always a way back, even if you don't think there is, and there's if you just keep on trying and keep on pressing, and eventually things will turn. Because I believe that hard work pays off at the end of the day. So yeah, I can't complain. But that's the advice I would give. Just keep on trying. You're in a lucky position to play the sport, even so. Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously on this platform, I'm very lucky to be able to talk to people from different eras and different generations, etc. So you are kind of the newer generation, I would say.
Yeah.
Obviously from obviously we come from I wouldn't say a similar background, but we went to the same high school. But I want
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
into I want to go into your background a little bit more and how you got into cricket. We spoke to Elvira Peterson
Yeah.
last night, and he was explaining to us that they didn't have people to look up to back in the day with
Yeah.
regards to on a national level, coming into the system. Whereas with
Yeah.
us, we obviously had a lot of guys that
Yes.
we could look up to in the and we had people to guide us into the sport. Obviously, this being Cricket Fanatics magazine, we are fans first, and you are fans first before you become actually a professional. How did
Yeah.
you get into the game, and what introduced you to the game at the beginning stages?
I don't think there was. You see, my dad actually brought me into the game. He was telling me stories that when I was 3, 4, whatever, you just used to throw underarms to me or whatever, and I'll just whack the ball, or I'll just hit it or something like that. Or yeah, so he introduced me to the sport, and yeah, just I think as time went on, I just started enjoying it more, and I looked up to people then. I think, like you say, there's back in the day there might not have been guys to look up to in terms of sport and in terms of the way the older generation has been
Mhm.
brought up. But yeah, I looked up to a couple of people, and I would try and strive to be like them. Or when you're young, you just want to be like a certain player, or your whole game sometimes changes just because you want to look like them. But when you're young, that's when you're young. So yeah, when I was younger, my dad introduced me to the game, and he kept on pushing me. So
Yeah.
there was a little bit of talent there. So he obviously tried to push it, and try to push the hard working side of me, through, and trying to be more hardworking than rely on talent.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's a good story because I mean I can relate to you with regards to that. When I was in about grade 5, 6, I went to St George's Grammar Schools, and I was massively into cricket in that stage. I really wanted to play, and that was my dream to be a cricketer when I was younger. But I was also it was a period where I was trying to mimic a lot of the heroes that I looked up to. So with regards to Herschel Gibbs, I was a big Herschel Gibbs fan. So I used to put my collar up when I used to bat, even though I was
Yeah,
even though I was a left-handed
yeah,
batsman.
yeah,
But probably the dumbest thing, I think I told this on a previous podcast. The dumbest thing I ever did was probably I used to bowl a certain way. I was a bowler, similar like you with regards to bowling and batting. I wanted to do both.
yeah.
I was an all-rounder. I
Yes.
wanted to be an all-rounder, and um, I think the dumbest thing I did was I was a big fan of Andre Nel at the time, just for that period. And we all know that he has like a very, very unique
Unique
bowling
action,
style.
yes.
Action. So for one game, I just watched the Proteas win, and he was the head. He was in the main reason for their victory for one match, and it was like it was against Sachs. And it was a big game for us, obviously, because we don't our school didn't really get to play against the top boys schools when we
Yeah.
were in primary school. So we were very lucky when we got an opportunity, and it was a massive game for everybody. And we were like, I was like, for this particular game, I decided, okay, I'm gonna try to bowl like Adrian else. So my coach is the umpire, and he's standing at the wicket, and he's like looking at my star. He's looking at me, and he's like, "Why are you bowling from there? First of all, second of all, why are you changing the stumps around?
Yeah.
I changed the bails around, and then I started wobbling up and like, and then I was starting to bowl,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
he looked at me, he's like,
Keep
"What are you
doing.
doing?" So I was like, no, I'm gonna bowl like this today. So he's like, no, bowl like you normally bowl. And then I got a wicket. And then he was like, I'll just leave him, let him just
Yeah. Let
so
him
for
be.
one game. So for one game, I did
Continue
it. And then for one game, and then they hit me to the boundary a couple of times, and then I was like, no, wait. I need to go back to what I'm normally doing.
Yeah.
And then from that game onwards, I did. Did any funny stories from that perspective? Who do the guys that you idolize or try to be like when you were younger?
Yeah, well, Jacques Callis for one, but he was very simple, so I guess.
Yeah.
But I did try and do like a trigger and this and that and all that. Although I have a little bit of a trigger now, but back then I didn't have a trigger, and then I started trying to trigger, and I looked up to Dale Steyn, and then sometimes in the net, for instance, because Sean Tate bowled fast or Mitchell Johnson, one of those guys. You just start running in like them or something like that, or you try and bowl like them, have different action, and you just try stuff and try and look like them or whatever. And there was certain the way maybe colours, I don't know, like you said, the Herschel Gibbs pop the collar or something. You know, just because those guys do it now, you do it and you think you're cool or something like that.
Yeah. So I don't know much about your primary school career and when cricket started for you. What primary school did you go to, and also were you playing club cricket at that age? Is that how you got into it?
I went to a few primary schools, I'm not gonna lie.
Okay.
I started off at Islamia. I don't know if you know that school, but I started off at Islamia, and then I went to Golden Grove when I was grade 4, 5, and then I went to Rondebosch from 6, 7. Okay, so I jumped around a little bit, but by the time that when I was at Golden Grove in Islamia, I was playing for Western Province Street Club. I was a member there or played there literally till I was still playing there at 20 something. So I was playing a lot of, whenever I could play club cricket, I'd play club cricket. And I used to play for the under 12s or whatever until I moved to Rondebosch, where it was more of a cricket school. And then I could focus on playing for Rondebosch boys primary school. Then I'd play for that specific team. So 12, 13 played for Rondebosch boys. Primary school, and ever since then I just played for Rondebosch boys, and then whenever I could play a club game after that I'd play.
Well, both,
so that's
both
kind of
schools.
My little story about in terms of that.
But both of those schools are actually in the area. Both of those schools are in my area actually, like you.
Okay.
So you went like Islam is around the corner for me, and Golden Grove is like in Stewart Road, which is like down the road from me as well.
Down the road as well, I actually stayed close to Golden Grove. That's why I went there. And then it's not too far from Province Street Club as well, so it wouldn't be. So it was all just around the area or whatever. So that's why I became Province Street Club. But it was very nice, very good. It was good times at Province Street Club. They a good bunch of people, so can't complain there as well.
What do you think is the biggest thing that they've done for your career so far, would you say?
Province Cricket Club or
Province Cricket Club.
Well, they when I was young, I was like 16 or 17, they would get me, they told me I must come train there, whatever the case is, and I played a couple of first team games when I was very, very young, so they kind of threw me in to the big boy stage like very young, so it helped me a lot in terms of growing up. I think I was 17 maybe when I played my first team game, maybe even 16. I'm not quite sure about the exact age, but I think that was the biggest thing. And they had really good coaches at the time and people that backed me. They had a couple of really good players at the time, you know, guys like SR was there, for instance. Derek Mitchell was there at the time. A couple of internationals were there, and it was very good learning from those guys because they were already, you know, at the big stages. Like when I just walked into the side, they were there. And it was really learning from those guys. You know, I remember I played against Charles Willoughby, for instance. He cleaned me up in 2 balls. When I was young, just in, away, nick, out. So like, you learn a lot from that type of level, especially when you're young, because you don't face that type of pace, or, you know, when you're at school or anything like that. So it's really cool. And so they kind of put me in there, and we actually won a little champ. Well, I wasn't there for the whole season, but I played in the final game where we won the championship, the first team, whatever championship, played against we played at UWC. So it was, yeah, and all the like Dane Villas actually played that game.
Sure.
Derek Esau and Dane Villas pretty much won the game for us.
Cool.
They came in early and they batted all day, so I didn't really have to do much. Yeah, but yeah, that's what they kind of did for me. So yeah, also grateful for the type of guys and the coaches that came in afterwards, like Rashid Lewis. He was always good to me as well, and good bunch of guys that helped me in my stages and whatever. You can learn a lot from guys that's been through a long part of their career, and they kind of a bit older. So yeah.
So I'm going to go into high school because that's actually where things really changed for you and really could have been. You see, we can talk about could have, should have, would have, all of those type of things. A lot of guys your age these days, these people that have had a clean slate just went through the system and has made it to the top. Like, for example, I asked this to Dayyaaan Jansen and Marco Jansen because their careers kind of took off at the same time, but Dayyaan's one was hampered by injuries, whereas Marco had kind of a easier road with regards to that, or better luck. With you, I remember clearly you were one of the most talked about cricketers in the country at the time. I mean, from the junior levels, and everybody was talking highly of you. The next colors, they're always looking for the next best thing, the next thing. And I remember seeing videos of you, high performance videos of you, obviously, and you're quite the famous one back in the day. So it's not like it has changed, but I'm just saying. But how did you? I'm obviously from a young age, 15 years old. I think we have a comment over here from the comment section. I might as well bring it up to you. And we might as well talk to that. But I want to ask you, before I get to that, high school, what was it like to be at Rondebosch Boys? I mean, I think you made your debut for Rondebosch in grade 8, 9 already for the first team, or you? Yeah. So like for you, I mean, you come into the school, you're just there, and then boom, like no, you're going to you're gonna go play against the big boys.
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't forget I think the main guy or the main two people in me getting at that level was Peter Harold and Rob Dalrymple. Peter, we used to train together. We used to have like winter nets type of, let's say, throughout the winter we would train together. So he knew what I was capable of. I remember I went in grade 7. Like the first team was leaving for a UK trip, and I actually went to go bowl to them. And that's when Peter was there, whatever. I was grade 7. I mean, they just got an extra guy, and I was bowling to those guys. I mean, they hurt me a little bit, obviously, because I'm grade 7. But just being exposed to that type of level, like, it was really cool. And, I was a bit intimidated, obviously. And then in grade 8, I played quite a few games. I did pretty well in grade 8 for under 14s. And then the beginning of the year, there was a trip to Somerset College, and I did well. And then immediately after that, I got called up into a first team game. I think we played Somerset College as well, but we played at Rondebosch. That was my debut game. And did all right. I remember Zubi he caught my first I bowled the ball. They hit it over his head, like ridiculous catch, like to get a wicket there. But that's my first wicket there for Rondebosch. And then after that, I think what really changed everything was, if I speak about it, there was a time when I got picked for Province under 19. I think there were maybe a couple of injuries or something like that. And there were 3-day games back in the day under 19s. And I only played like 2 games for Province. No, sorry, not Province, I lie. For Rondebosch Boys first team. And then I think Nabil Dean was the main guy in that and said, listen, just give this guy, let's just put him in the system. He's a good player. Let's bat him. He can bat at 8, 9, and he can just bowl first change, second change. But just to be in the environment to see what it's like. And we were like 150 for 6 or 7, and I was batting with Shuaib Samai. Yeah, I wouldn't forget that. Not Shuaib, sorry, his brother. Anyway, one of the Samai brothers.
Yeah.
And we batted for a long time, and I actually scored 100 that game. It was like my first game now at the Province under 9. We played border. We played at Downville Cricket Club, and then I think ever since then I was a regular feature in the first team, And I think that was the biggest reason why I'm probably made a province in the 19 that year.
Yeah.
And that's where it all started, I think. That's where everything kicked off. And in between that, I remember we played against a weak school in under 15, like DF Milan. They weren't, I mean, no disrespect to them. Sorry if I'm, putting their name in a bad light there. Sorry, I don't mean to disrespect them or anything like that.
Yeah. I don't think they'll take it like that either.
No, so let's say not a cricketing school. They're not a weak school in terms of everything. Just a cricketing school. They're not as strong as a Rondebosch Boys High School. And this is the game I got dropped back to the under 15s. We had a rotational system, and that's when I took that 9 for 1 or whatever the case is in 100 and whatever. And then after that, I moved back into the first team, and since then I kind of stayed there.
Yeah.
But the coaches were a big help in that to say, we think you can cope at the level, and even if it's tough, just we're gonna push you because maybe after a while it will come right, and it takes time to be good. So if you put in this deep end, whatever, maybe it will work out. And they took a chance, and I'm grateful for it. So I thank them, and I thank the players for helping me through it as well. They were really good players in that team as well. So that's how everything started. And then I obviously got picked into the province under 19 team that year, and that's kind of where it happened, and it went forward from there. So
that's incredible. So batting for you, was it bowling for you first, and then batting kind of came about, or was it the other way around? I know I had this talk with I can't remember who it was, but we were talking about, like, especially players of color. I don't want to get into the whole discussion, but generally speaking, players of color, they automatically put you into the bowling ranks. Say, like, you're good at batting and you're bowling, and then they make you say now you're a batsman first, but you can bowl a bit. They almost like force the bowling on you, and you don't really have an opportunity to actually bat up the order necessarily. What was your experience like? Were you a batsman first as a kid, and then bowling came about, or was it?
You see, at province they had like when I was at province cricket club, when I was under 10, when you're under 10, they 1 week you bat at 9, the next week you bat at 3. Like, they just do a rotational system there, like under 10, 11, whatever the case is. But once I got to first team Rondebosch, they kind of batted me at like 6 or so. And like when I was in grade 6, they batted me at 5, 6 or 7. But then when I was in grade 7, I batted at 3 or 4. So I opened the bowling. And then in under 14, I was the same. And then when I played first team, obviously you're not just going to walk into the team and bat at 3. So I batted at 6, 7 there as well, till about grade 11. That's when I moved up the order. In grade 10, I was still at 6. And I started opening the bowling in grade 9 or 10.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the years I started opening the bowling. So I think they always put not always, but like my bowling would be maybe progressed quicker than my batting.
Okay.
Not that they didn't give me opportunity at batting. It would progress at that level a little bit quicker than my batting. But my batting does come through. But it takes sometimes a touch more time to adapt to the level. But once I adapted to the level, then it was a lot better.
Yeah.
And I was able to score big runs,
Yeah. Is that an aspect of the game that you really want to make sure that you improve on? For obviously now moving. Yeah.
No, my batting is I have had a chat to my coach, I've had a chat to everyone, and immediately afterwards I said, I had a decent season with the ball. I'm very happy with my performances, especially economy rates and those things mixed with, wickets and whatever. I think it's a decent display. I would like to improve on it, obviously. If I can take more wickets, I mean, who's not going to take it?
Yeah.
But definitely my batting needs to improve. I think that's a big area where I want to kind of take it. I got a lot of starts. I got a lot of 20s or a lot of 25s or 30 or then out. And then I got a couple of 50s where I could have taken it to 100s. So there's always at a point, then it's like I'm in and then I get out. I'm in, then I get out. So it wasn't a case of like I'm completely out of it. It's more a case of like, when you get to 20, you need to stay focused for long periods of time. And but that's definitely an area where I can improve. I want to improve. It's definitely on my list, right at the top. And yeah, if I can add value with that off the field and the ball, then I feel like my game can develop quickly, and you never know what can happen from there. So, if you give yourself the best chance and if you do well and, in all aspects, then, why, who's to say that you can't play at a high level?
Yeah, of course. So I think we can get straight into comments because there's a lot coming in a lot more than I expected actually immediately. I thought they're going to wait later, but they've started already. So let's start with this. In 2012-13, you toured India for your under 19 at the age of 15. Is that correct? How was that
Yes, I was
experience?
16. 2013, I was
16?
16. Yeah, I was 20
Cool.
at 2013. Yeah, I was 16. It was mind blowing. I didn't get to play a lot, but just to be in that environment, you're playing with guys like KG, and you're playing with like top players, and Ray Jennings was the coach. Interesting story about Ray Jennings, and the first encounter, he ripped into me. When I first met him, he ripped into me properly, like, but I'll never forget it because he just made me want to do better, and he said, this is what you would have to do, whatever, and I did it, and he rewarded me. So he wasn't nasty to me, and didn't acknowledge me if I did well, so he kept me on my toes. But the tour itself was really good. The level is, especially at that age where you've played 1 year of province cricket and 1 year of 1.5 years of first team cricket, and you're playing against India and guys that are Billy Stanlake's there, like a lot of the youngsters, Sanju Samson was playing there, so big names that are making it now were playing then. So when I played all my games were against India that I played, so I didn't play really against Zimbabwe or Australia. I was going to play against Australia, but then I played against India a couple of games, so it was the tougher games out of the lot. But I think just to be there and to be in that environment, see what it's like, it was really good. And it paid off in the end, to be part of that type of team, batting, bowling, you learn a lot from those type of conditions and being exposed to it early.
Yeah, sure. At a young age, you've obviously picked up a hell of a lot of experience with regards to that. Being so young and then traveling at such a young age and seeing this whole different world, what was that like? What was that experience like?
That's also it's a very cool experience as well. I was actually fortunate enough when I was under 12 or 13. That was my first trip away, like overseas, but it was like a small invitational team. And then there was those Malaysia trips and whatever, but nothing like, playing for your country against India under 19 in a tri-series against India, Australia, Zimbabwe, and now you there and your age and yourself, and you looking at guys there and you can just see the way they carrying themselves like they're the big deal. And you're there like
yeah.
That was very, very good. Like the intensity at which they played at the time when I was 16 was like something I've never seen before. So I struggled to keep up with the intensity part of things because I'm a laid-back person in general. So I was always behind the 8 ball. But the more I played there, obviously the more I adapted to it. So I think that's the biggest thing, intensity.
Yeah. Like, what did you pick up from like a young KG or a young Aiden? There's a lot of guys. Young
Aiden was also Aiden was there as well. I forgot about it.
Yeah.
Aiden, yeah. Sheesh. The way they went about their business pretty good at that age, and they had good guidance as well. I remember KG bowled is still, well, in my eyes then it was he's still bowling the speed of light, but then he was rattling people. Lungi was also in that squad. They were rattling people. They had raw talent, raw pace. Aiden worked hard in his game, and he has a good story to tell as well.
Yeah.
About not making certain teams and then playing SL19 so it's really good to look up to guys like that and seeing that how they went about their business and how calm they are under pressure. It might not seem like if I ask him, listen, you look so calm or whatever under pressure, you might be like, I'm not. But it's just, it's how they look and how they go about their business. So yeah.
Mm. So the questions might jump around because it's obviously
Yeah.
different people asking different things, but it's fine.
Yeah,
After 2014 setback, you came back stronger and made it to 2016 Under-19 World Cup. How did you manage to remain motivated?
for me, I feel like I had something to prove because I was in the last World Cup where I went into the squad and now I was out. So I just wanted to prove that not to prove to anyone, but just to prove to myself that I can be at that level and play against all the countries in the world and try and stand out. So that was my motivation to kind of be at the next World Cup when I get another opportunity, because I feel like it wasn't my last World Cup, so I wasn't demotivated. Like I was very I wasn't motivated, or I was very sad at the time, going through a little bit, but luckily there was still another one coming. So I wanted to do the best that I could to be as good as I can come the next World Cup.
Yeah. Cool. So in 20, wait, oops, wrong one. You were top wicket taker in 2017 semi-pro season, but somehow you couldn't repeat the same for the Cobras. What went wrong back then, would you say? I think I can say what went wrong then, but you can go.
Well, a bunch of things went wrong, to be honest. First of all, injuries was a big issue that season in 2018. I think I always had something going on and I had to hold back quite a bit in terms of bowling. I wasn't bowling the same speed that I was maybe bowling now, or I was maybe a couple of yards slower. And yeah, like I developed my batting a little bit. We played a lot of our games at West Australia Club that year, and my batting actually improved by playing there because it's not a great wicket to play on. And I think that season, I don't think anyone got 100 in 3-day cricket at West Australia Club. Especially the games that I played, no one got 100. I remember Matthew Kleinveld got very close, he got 97. But still, to get 100 on that pitch, if no one's getting, then do you know what I mean? Like, it's not easy to bat on that in those conditions. Other pitches around the country, obviously, you can capitalize on those, whatever. So I think my batting wasn't quite there. I had an okay season with my decent season with my batting. If I can say in terms of like the conditions, whatever, but it wasn't good enough in terms of the way I want or what I wanted to achieve. So bowling definitely wasn't as good as nowhere near where I should be. Yeah.
Cool. In the 2014 Kai Majola week, you had a famous loss over triple wicket maiden. How did that feel? That was incredible.
Yeah, that felt really good. Like, I don't know. I don't know what happened, to be honest. I just took the ball and I just bowled and everything just worked my way. Like, I can't say that I bowled a ridiculously good over. I just bowled with as much intensity as I've got and just give 100%. And obviously going at, the stumps or whatever, my first ball was a low full toss, or second ball was a low full toss, and I got a wicket. And then the next ball was like a new batsman. It was like a length ball that he could have whacked for. He could have hit it for 6 if he wanted to. I don't know. And then the ball after that, it got tight and I nailed my Yorker straight, and then nailed the York, and then I got 3 Yorkers in a row. That was good Yorkers, yeah. But my first 3 balls were like not great. So it was decent bowling accompanied with not great batting. So it just worked for me. Like on that day, it was probably just meant to be my day. I don't know. So I went with it, and it happened, and that feeling was ridiculously nice.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you a little bit about your franchise career. Of course, we know that obviously. Okay, this is my observation of the situation is that you coming through as an all-rounder. There's obviously another all-rounder that the Cobras had, Jason Smith, and obviously they had senior players like Rory Kleinveld and Vernie Philander. So it's kind of difficult for a youngster to break into the system and get opportunities. Yeah. And if I'm guessing correctly, I think that's one of the main reasons you've moved to the Titans. For more opportunity at the highest level. So Can you talk to me about the time at the Cobras and your reason and the reason behind your move? And obviously, we can go move on from there.
Yeah. When I first got in, I think Farisco was there as well. So he was like the D20 kind of all-rounder type of thing. Jason was there as well. And then obviously Rory Kleinfeld were bowling all-rounders, and George is there, and got a lot of all-rounders or bowling all-rounders, spinning all-rounders, batting all-rounders, whatever. And I kind of find myself, because I didn't perform maybe in 2018 as much as I wanted to. I did okay, like not great, but I was almost last in the pecking order, I feel. Or not last, but like if there were a pecking order. But I'm not saying it's anyone's fault. It's my fault that I wasn't doing better or whatever. And yeah, the time at the the Cobras was really, it was good in a way, because I've learned a lot coming out of it. Of the way that my injuries, and maybe I was too comfortable. I was at home. And yeah, personally, I moved because I would have loved to get more opportunity. I did nicely in my the season when I moved to Boerland instead of Province. I did nicely. I was averaging 70 or something, and I struggled to still get into the squad. I was struggling to get into the team, and I was thinking that I've given myself a good opportunity now to get into the side, and I still couldn't break it. Because it's so tough to choose when you've got all those other guys and whatever. So I kind of wanted to move into a system where, they got one or two all-rounders, and, where I can potentially play more. And yeah, like I just felt like I could have taken my game to the next level when I took the move. The coaches they're very good coaches there, and down at the Cobras. They've got a lot of knowledge, a lot of knowledge as well. So I think that I would have loved to have played more at the Cobras, or play in the colours a lot more than what I did. It was always a dream of mine to play for the Cobras. Growing up in Cape Town, to play for them, and I really wanted to be in that environment, be into the squad, or be in the team a lot more than what I was. Unfortunately, it didn't happen that way, but that's also okay, and everything happens for a reason. And now I'm, sitting in Pretoria, and I had a decent season, or played a lot of the games, which I'm super happy about, and just confirms that I made a good decision about the move. So I'm very happy now, and maybe those things needed to happen for me to be here. So I'm not complaining. I'm not spite about anything. If I see the guys or the coach, whatever, we'll still have a chat or shake hands, or be chilled, like very chilled with each other. It's not a bad
vibe.
Yeah.
So obviously, first season, full season, I would say, in franchise cricket, where you were given the opportunity to be able to be one of the main guys in the side, and obviously the Titans have rewarded you with that, with regards to the awards, winning Player of the Season or Newcomer of the Season as well. I mean, to get Newcomer and Player of the Season is quite an achievement. So what was it? What went right for you this season? Would you say you were good with the bat, you were good with the balls, and was it difficult for you to switch environments? I mean, for me, going from Cape Town to Pretoria, it's quite a shift to your system. Also, you're playing you're training at higher altitudes.
No, 100%. And just the city itself, really. Let's be honest. It's a lot different. Yeah. I personally, for me, they helped me get into the team. Actually, they were very welcoming. They didn't make it seem like I'm better than you, or they were. As soon as I got into the mix, Mark Boucher and Mandla was on my case. They were watching me. They were watching me like a walk. They were like checking my every move. Like they were just looking at what's going on here. As soon as they saw something, they took me aside. I remember Mark Boucher taking me aside into the other nets there, telling me this and that, and that's when my trigger started. He said, "I want you to trigger," and whatever the case is, and he said, "No, this is what needs to happen, etc., etc., etc."
Sure.
And every time it was on my case if I'm lacking intensity or I'm I don't even know when I'm lacking intensity sometimes. Like I feel like I'm at 100,
Yeah.
but he's telling me you're at like 650 or 60.
Sure.
And Manda tells me the same thing. Like you weren't there today. He'll tell me, "What training? Listen, bud, you're not here. I want you to wake up and run in." Type of thing. Like as in they're quite intense with me. Or at training they were, quite intense with me, and they were at me a little bit in the beginning. So which had helped me a lot. Fudgy, we were batting partners, but he helped me with a lot of things. He helped me in terms of how to play conditions and how to he took me aside and he started throwing balls to me. But he just said, let's work. And he threw lots of balls to me. He said, I wasn't at 150, but we spoke about lines, lengths,
Yeah.
what to leave, what to play, what tends to happen up here, or what tends to, how the game works. Like, Grant Thompson speaks to me about my bowling a lot. Batting as well, he speaks to me about my batting. The guys are always helping me in terms of, listen, where can I improve, or what do you think? How is that spell? Or, how is that? How did I at training? Don't feel like you were quite there, or one thing I know is that I bowl one ball at 120, and the next ball can be around 35.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So they would be at my throat about doing stuff like that all the time. But it's not that I'm trying to do it. It's just something in my action is not clicking, or I don't know what it is. But we're striving to, they'll be hard on me to try and get something out of me, because they know what I can do and they know where I can be at. So they really took me in and they really like worked with me as an individual, and they know where I need to be. Yeah, they know. Mark Boucher said to me straight away, I can see when you're going to score runs or when you're not. Or I can see when you're going to bowl a good spell when you're not. Like,
sure.
You can like, when my intensity isn't there at a like really good level, you just know. Or something like, so we've been working a lot on intensity and getting me up there. And I think once that's come, into it, and, it's kind of been a bit easier and a bit better. Yeah. And it's not there all the time, but I still need to work on it, obviously. Yeah, it's not just going to automatically just be there. So, yeah, they took me in properly and they worked with me very closely. I remember I came back from academy and Mandla took me on the bowling machine and we did basics. Like, I wasn't scoring runs at all. And we were doing the most basic thing you can do. We just stood there. I stood still, no feet. You know that no feet drill when you're just standing there? Just took it from the beginning again. And it was like so close to season, but we made sure we did stuff like that, like a few times, like quite a bit, to make sure that there's certain things in my head and my technique that's working where it was maybe lacking, So they took me in as, and not to say that the Cobras didn't. We did winter season, like preseason. They also did that. So I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that in terms of now when I moved here, they really worked as an individual with me, and they worked as an individual with me for a long time. They do that with everyone. If they will work with you like as much as they can as individuals, when they're throwing to you, so they'll give everyone the attention that they deserve sometimes, so which is really good.
Awesome. So we have one over here from Mohammed. He says, what's it like bowling with a potent Titans attack with the likes of Ngidi, Dala, and those likes?
It's Junior can be a very interesting character, I can tell you that. Yeah. But it's really good. Like, they're always challenging you. Like, Junior can be funny and whatever, but he's really serious. He's a serious bowler. And he's quick. When it's time to be serious, he'll put you on your toes. So, it's out of the those guys, he's probably one of the guys that are, in terms of the most hectic, in terms of our disciplines, as in the bowling side of things. I'm not saying none of us are, but in terms of the discipline and this and intensity that we bring, he believes that you got to bring 150% every time you bowl. Then rather just stay at home. That's what he'll tell you.
Sure.
So if you're not bowling with a good intensity at training, he'll tell you why you're here. Like, that's the type of confrontation you'll have with you. So those guys keep you on your toes as well. And Lungi we all know he's a really good, like he's next level, So He's big, he's strong, he's quick, and he'll come to training, and you'll see that he's there with a purpose. Like, he's there to bowl, hit his straps with intent, and that's him. He knows what he needs to do, and you learn a lot. And the nice thing is that we're always having conversation about, at training, with Matthew Arnold and, those guys. Like, we would always talk, and Chris Morris joined us for a while. Obviously, you enjoyed us for a while. So there was always someone there, and, Mandla, and we'd always have talking about bowling. We were talking, and we would communicate quite a bit at practice. Sometimes the batsman would wait a little bit, but, if we can get a point across, we did bowl a lot at practice. So that's the only thing.
Yeah.
We bowled a lot. But yeah, it's what it's like bowling with him. It's really cool. I can tell you that. It's yeah.
So as a bowler, what do you think your main attributes are? Is it swing, in seam, or in swing, or seam, or hit the deck hard?
I'm more of probably a swing bowler, I'd say. Like, I think my biggest, when I'm not bowling well, I'm floating it, so I swing it early, and it's easy to see. But when I'm bowling well, it's going late. It's hitting the deck, and then it's kind of going after that. So yeah, but I think I'm more of a swing bowler in my personal opinion. So yeah.
Cool.
But I can bring it. Yeah, I can bring it in as well. Yeah.
Don't want to give your secrets away either.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking I should say that.
Keep it within what you can say.
It's a surprise delivery, not to tell everyone.
Yeah. So Sean wants to know, with training starting next week, what are the focus areas that the coaches will start with? Will you look at fitness first? So obviously you spoke about your injury and you getting back into rehab, etc. So but you've been in team talks, etc. Can you maybe elaborate on this?
Yeah, we actually had testing yesterday, COVID testing, because we want everyone to obviously do those COVID tests before we go in. And once
what was that like?
Really sore. I had a bad experience. Like, my experience was terrible. I wouldn't recommend it. Like, if you're sick, just stay at home. Don't even just say you got COVID and stay at home. Like, some of the guys were a lot easier. Like, but me, I don't know. I have sinus problems, so they were struggling, and eventually, after like a while, my eyes were obviously tearing, and then eventually after a while, I just started bleeding everywhere because I don't know what happened, but mine was hectic. Anyway, hectic. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So what we're looking to do is probably start with we're doing a couple of fitness tests first up, and then for the first couple of weeks we'll probably do fitness, gymming, all those things, and then the batting will start soon after that. So
yeah, cool.
Definitely fitness first, and then afterwards we'll go into the skills and those things. And just before season hits, we'll probably do a lot of bowling, batting, middles, practice matches and this and that. So yeah.
Sean, is a nice follow-up one. You had a couple of difficult seasons. What do you have to say to players that have similar difficult times? How do you strengthen yourself mentally? And I think mentally, in cricket especially, mental side of the game is very important.
I think you gotta, I don't know, you've firstly family and the person you spend time with on a daily basis, if you have a wife or girlfriend or something like that, they're important as well to help you through that. And family is important because they know where you've been and what you like. Also, I think it's also important to speak to someone. If you speak to people about it and if you get it off your chest, sometimes it boils up inside of you. And it's tough, and you want to get it out. So, speak to someone. There's nothing wrong with speaking to a sports psychologist or maybe someone that you trust closely. And yeah, just to stay motivated. Remind yourself why you're playing the game, why you in it, and if you can, give back to people that have given to you in your past. My dad was a big big reason also why I keep fighting, because he's given me a lot. I can't. He's put in a lot of time for me. So, to be it wouldn't be right if I just call it quits quickly. So find that little piece of spark that you need, if there is a spark, or it's a case of I'm playing this game for this reason, and I love the game. So there's people out there that want you to do well, and there's people out there that don't want you to do well. Yeah. So I think it's important to have the right people around you, and just stay strong, stay positive, believe that you can always, so not always. I know it sounds simple, but just keep believing in yourself. A lot of people lack belief, but belief is the thing that might keep you going, so see where you can be, set goals, and I hope I covered a little bit of that.
Yeah, of course you did. And you played in the 2019 Under-19 World Cup with Mitch van Buren. I know he can be very destructive. How much do you rate him?
I actually played a game against him now recently, Northerns versus the Gauteng. But he's a really good player. He's a really good talent. I won't forget, he came in, and the wicket is tough, whatever. He comes in like first couple of balls, drive you on the up, like hit a couple of shots like in the one-day game over extra cover and whatever. So really good player. He can play. I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks into a Lions team, and wherever he is, break into a top team.
Yeah, so he just corrected himself. He's talking about the 2016 Under-19 World Cup. I think he rectified himself a few times in the a few times in the comments. I'm trying to find everything to ask you. Now, we have a fan here that has been asking a lot of questions. Sadiq, he's a constant fan. He used to watch every single video. So now he hasn't been here for a while. So now he's just getting it all out of his system.
Yes.
Oh Lord. Okay, so let's get into some of these ones, because it actually adds value to the conversation as well. It's who is the toughest bowler you faced and the toughest batsman you bowled to? Okay, let's go. Let's do it. Let's make it a little more interesting. Let's say at under-19 level, and then let's say franchise level.
KG was the toughest probably I faced at under-19 level. He was really tough. And there was a couple of spinners in Bangladesh. Mehdi was playing. Mehdi, he plays for Bangladesh now, yeah. There was actually another guy, his name I think is Hamid. He was, the first two games they prepared like a dust bowl, and we were blown away. And this guy was bowling like my first ball. If I show you a video, you wouldn't believe it looks. If I show you the first ball that I faced on that tour, you will think that it's a leg spinner bowling. I promise you. He bowled fast, and the ball was like on leg stump, and it would beat me like past the outside off, and the keeper would be taking it like up here, and I'm like what's going on? So there were a couple of bowlers there that were really tough to face. KG was one of them. Really tough to face. And then batsmen that I bowled to in school. There were a lot of good batsmen when I was at school. Like I can't really pick out one guy, to be honest. But maybe Yasin Vali was pretty good at when I was bowling to him. Lefty Yasin Vali, not Mo. He was when he was on song, you kind of couldn't really bowl anyway, because he could lap you, he could reverse lap you, he could hit you extra cover.
Very talented player.
He could hit you over mid wicket. Like he could choose where he wanted to hit you and hit you. So it was I remember one experience, we're playing a under-19 game, like a practice game, and he's blitzing guys, like he's on 50 something, and I don't know where to bowl to him, to be honest. So
cool.
So
the
franchise, that's hard because there's a lot of good players. So I can't. It's tough to pick one. To be honest, there's a lot of really good players. Sean van Berg, Glenton Steelman, Aldrin Hawken. They're good players as well. I'm talking about franchise level now. They
Yeah.
Marshall de Lange, he can be quite tough sometimes. I mean, I can mention so many. Like, if I feel like if I say one, then the one, like, you know what I mean. I'll be missing so many guys. Do you know what I mean? Like, as in
Yeah,
that
of
are
course.
really good. That's top. Susana Magala is good. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I can keep going.
Yeah.
Like, there are a lot of good talents. Like,
Yeah.
Luthor. Yeah. One of the better guys that I've bowled to, toughest that I bowled to, is sometimes in the nets. Guys like Dayyaans or actually Dane Villas, ridiculously hard. I didn't like bowling to them in the nets because you bowl a good ball and your next ball will charge you and hit it at your head, like you'll hit it back straight at you. Like, it's so hard to bowl to him. Like, as in the net. Like, sometimes I don't know. I also didn't know what to do. Like, sometimes I'm just like, okay, well, like what's going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, Dane Villas was really a good player. Aiden, I bowled to Aiden once or twice in the game. Also, impossible to bowl to sometimes because he was there. We played at Centurion and I think they got like 115, like 16 overs or something like that. So it was really, a couple of really good batsmen as well. Yeah.
Cool. So I'm gonna get into the last few. There are a lot of bowling all rounders going around in domestic cricket, but a very few batting all rounders. Don't you think working on batting and becoming a proper batsman will only increase your chance?
Yeah, that's a good observation. I am looking to improve my batting, so if I can obviously get a better batsman, whatever, and improve that drastically, I think I will. Yeah, I mean, it will improve my chances a lot, So I think over time that'll get better. And yeah, but I do think they are not a great. There are a lot of decent batting all-rounders as well as bowling all-rounders. So I think if I can get the two close to each other in terms of how well I bat and how well I bowl,
Yeah.
then if I can score a couple of hundreds and take wickets, then you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I think if I can work on both equally, and obviously you're going to work on your batting a bit more because you can bat more. So yeah, I think it's important to work on batting as well as bowling. I don't want to neglect my bowling now. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I want to focus on it a lot because it's what I'm doing well with. And if my batting improves, I'll work on my batting a lot. And if it improves a lot, then score 100, score this, whatever. Then who's to say you can't bat at 6, 7 and open the bowling or bat at 6 or I don't know. Like I'm just making an example, as in, maybe one day for the Titans I can bat at 6 or 5. I mean, I did bat at 6. One game, but we used to say one day, someone gets injured up, whatever, and they say,
And
well,
you have to
you
move
scoring
up forward,
runs, and you bat 5 or whatever, and you're still opening the bowling because you're the opening bowler. So, do you know what I mean? So, it'll be a lot of tough work, but yeah.
Cool. So Gio said he wants to know your hero as a young cricketer and why. And you mentioned Jacques Kallis. When you were a young cricketer, obviously Jacques Kallis was your hero. Is there anybody else? Maybe you can elaborate on that a little more for the guys that came on later on the show.
Yeah. Dale Steyn was one of them. One of my heroes and one of the guys I really looked up to. And obviously Jacques Kallis. Jacques Kallis is obviously his name and everything speaks for itself. But in terms of Dale Steyn, I think the way he went about his business, he was so smooth. There's a lot to admire about him, There's, he can bowl in India and he can take a fifer, as well as come to South Africa and take a fifer, and he can go anywhere in the world and be the best, And he isn't a guy that swings it massively both ways. He's he's quick, obviously, he can reverse the ball, but I'm talking about let's say with a new ball, he can bring it back, but I haven't seen him, always just taking a wicket with the one that swings back like Jimmy Anderson. He's stock delivery, just the one that swings away, but he does it so well that it's so hard to face with a really good bouncer. So he's so simple, but yet so good, which is a lot to admire about someone.
Awesome. And I've kept the last question for Emily Norris. I said, favorite moment of your career so far?
Oof.
Because I knew you're gonna need some thinking with regards to this one.
Indeed, yeah, sure. Favorite moment of my career so far, or in terms of playing or off the field, on the field, but obviously related to cricket.
Yeah.
I'll maybe give you a on field and maybe a off field one. I don't know,
Okay,
like
cool.
as in
That's
relating to cricket. Yeah.
cool.
On let's start with off the field. Off the field is definitely my achievement that I just achieved now, getting 3 awards after some tough decisions that I had to make in life. And obviously the move, whatever. And to get 3 awards is, if you ask anyone, I didn't expect it at all. And that was definitely one of my biggest highlights of my career. So probably the biggest highlight of my career so far. And yeah, it's been unbelievable to say the least.
Yeah.
So that's definitely obviously relating to cricket, but that's one of my favorite moments in my life as a cricket player. And then on the field, I was actually a youngster there, and there's a lot of favorite moments on the field. When I say, I can just give you a couple quickly. Definitely that 3 wickets that I took, that 3-wicket maiden. That was one of my favorite moments. Another favorite moment was when I was under 15 and I scored 100 when I was at under 19 province level.
Yeah.
And after school there's been a few moments after school, like first of all, getting opportunity debuting for the Titans, debuting for the Cobras. That's been one of my favorite moments, to play at that level and to play against, top quality guys. And yeah, there's in franchise level, there's been a lot of small moments, winning games like that. That's been really, really exciting games. Sometimes we win the game in the last session and all that. So it's really exciting moments and times to be part of. You want to be part of that type of success. And hopefully next season we can win a trophy, and that'll be my next favorite moment,
Yeah. So there's 2 more for me. So one is regarding being in the high performance environment quite often. You would have worked a lot with Vinnie Bonds, etc., and those type of guys. What did you learn from someone like him?
I learned a lot from, for instance, Shukri and Vinny. They were obviously around a lot in those times, whatever. I think Shukri was obviously a lot more involved with me and stuff like that than Vinny was.
Okay, cool.
Vinny obviously had more managers, like as in he was a lot busier with. Not to say he didn't help me at all. He did help me.
Yeah, you better say that because he watches the show.
No. I'm saying I didn't mean to say that he doesn't. I don't. Yeah, I mean, he did help me. He did help me, of course. I was just saying that Shukri has definitely been involved a little bit more. Dylan Dupree was there. Andre Null was the bowling coach at one point in the academy. They helped me quite a bit in terms of wrist positions and they helped me a lot. And they were the bowling coaches at the time. Vinny helped me a lot as well, where those things are regarded as well. But yeah, those were good times, and I learned a lot out of those. It pushed you a lot. Yeah. They pushed you, they tested you in terms of 6 o'clock wake ups or 5 o'clock wake ups. And I'll never forget the first high performance thing that we had. Well, the first one I was involved in, which was 2016. Tumi Masekela was the trainer, and he took us down. Jason was there as well. He can tell you as well. I'll never forget. We finished the tri-series, and literally the next day, before the 4-day campaign started, we did a running, like fitness. The next day, we just arrived in Potchefstroom. Boys, we're running.
Okay, so my next one is a little bit about the future, and it's going to be the last one that I'm going to ask you before we get
Yeah.
into a little bit of your off the field stuff.
Yes.
I want to ask you because you're not the first person to mention or the first youngster to mention the troubles or the difficulties against spin in Indian conditions, etc. The national side also struggles over there, and in those type of conditions. What from your perspective, is there anything being done with regards to that from a CSA perspective or from a franchise perspective, etc.,
Yeah.
to help you guys improve that side of the game?
Yeah. I think when Dean, just before he went to India, he was working with
I
like
see that it's in the comments as well. Actually, I'm sorry, I didn't even see that. But
yeah.
yeah,
He was working with a couple of the guys, whatever, and he was actually off the pitch. He wasn't on the pitch. He was almost on the rough side of everything. So where the bowlers would bowl, that's where he would be standing, like just maybe past that. So every time would hit the rough or skid on, and he did pretty decently now in the last India trip. He got 100, and he worked quite a bit in terms of into the rough stuff and where we would bowl from and whatever. So I think from our side, when the guys do need to go over there, I think they're all working on things to get better and whatever. And I remember when I went to Bangladesh, not that it's anywhere near the
yeah,
highest level, but some stuff that I would do is on those Astro kind of not
yeah,
pitches, those AstroTurf where you land as a bowler, whatever, where you would get extra bounce. So they would throw to me on that, or they would throw to me in the rough, as in we would create rough on the pitch, whatever, like heavy rough, and we would leave the stones there. So the stones would do whatever that it should do. Do you know what I mean? And that's what they were doing with Dean as well. So they are doing stuff to help, and that's why obviously he did well, and which obviously I'm sure it helped him a lot. So yeah, there
yeah,
are things that are in place, I think, especially if you're gonna go over there.
yeah. Cool. So I just want to get into know you a little bit off the field and some of the favorite stuff that you like to do, hobbies, etc. If there's anything specific that you enjoy doing. Obviously, now you said you were injured and there was
Yeah.
not much to do. What did you get up to watch to on Netflix? What's on your music playlist, etc.
Golf, definitely. I like pretty much all sports really. You can tell me let's go play some tennis, I'll be there. Like I'm more than happy to play. I love tennis as well. Tennis, I love to play golf, in off times, in terms of hobbies to do. Love listening to music, playing games, PlayStation. That's off. My playlist is a bit, yeah, it's more for going out music. I do have a couple of chilled songs. I do have a few chilled songs, whatever. But mainly, when you're on the move for gym, then talk to me. Because
Yeah.
I've got a few tracks. Yeah,
Okay,
so
cool.
that's kind of that, yeah.
And PlayStation, what's some of your favorite games?
FIFA, definitely.
Okay, cool.
Definitely my
Who do you
favorite
support?
game. I support so my Real Madrid is my main team.
Okay.
And then over the past I've developed to like English teams as well because everyone's hypes about the English Premier League.
Yeah.
So Chelsea.
Okay, cool. You're a Chelsea supporter.
Yeah,
So
and a
yeah,
massive
yeah.
Ronaldo fan, just quietly. Massive.
Yes.
Massive.
Because I'm a United fan, and at the moment,
Okay.
obviously,
Yeah.
both of us making top four.
I'll
That
take
was a
it.
massive. Yeah, it's a massive. It's a
Couple of new
massive.
signings.
Yeah, I mean, you guys have some. Yes, I was
Yeah.
upset because it's two of my favorite young players that are going to you, Havertz and Flippin.
Yeah, and Ziyech and Timo Werner's there now.
Werner as
And
well,
Pulisic has been good. So yeah,
I'm
good
peeved by
signings.
that.
Just one more,
I mean,
maybe a defender, like a serious defender.
yeah,
As Piliqueta can maybe start benching it a little bit. I like the Reece James. I think he's quality. He's a right back. I think he hasn't played a lot, but he's got lots of potential. Yeah.
So, what is your thoughts on Lampard? Do you think good achievement this season?
Yeah, well, I think he's got a final now coming up. So a final, maybe a cup in your first season. With the players that he's got, he didn't really have a lot of options. He couldn't buy. So I think he's done really well in terms of his first season. He's done, in my opinion, I'll take fourth for now. And obviously now you can see he's quite serious about getting some good players in. So let's see.
I'm so
Let's see how it
upset.
is next season. First season is
Bernard
always
Havertz.
it's tough to judge when you have nothing. Like, he's done really well, but hopefully next season when he's got the players that he wants, he can do things, good things.
Yeah, I'm so peeved about Havertz and Werner. Those are they're literally like the two players I wanted at United, like definitely. But anyway,
listen,
it is what it
United's
is.
come out with fire there after lockdown. They had some good thinking done. I don't know, something happened there. I'm not sure.
For me, it was the fact that all of our players. Okay, so remember, a lot of our players were injured at the beginning of the season. So Martial was injured for a period of time. Rashford, Pogba, so many. Fernandes is a massive boost. We needed someone to be able to break down defenses that hold and sit back.
Yes.
And we never had that type of player, and it's the first time now that we got someone that can actually unlock defenses.
I still like Pogba further up the pitch. I don't think he exploits enough. Like I wanna, like, as in the France role that he play, he can play like just behind the striker or something like that. You know what I mean? I feel like he can be a good box to box, but I feel like he's better in the final third.
Yeah,
like that's where his magic happens, or in the opponent's half. I think that's where his magic happens. But I think they want obviously to bring the ball out and etc. and let Fernandes do that. But I'm talking now if you want the best out of Pogba. He's been playing well. I'm not saying he's not doing well, but in terms of if you want to see Pogba at his finest, I feel like that's the. Yeah.
So how I see it, and from a FIFA perspective, you'll be able to, it's easier to understand maybe, is if we play a 3 middle with a deep lying playmaker or deep lying defensive midfielder. Yeah. So because
and the two of them almost go.
Yes, exactly. And then if 2 of them are attacking at the same time, switching it up between them, you're not going to be able to stop it. So I just think that United need a defensive midfielder that's solid, and a centre back and a right mid, and we are sorted.
Kante, Casemiro there.
Yeah, like that type of role. Like that type of I mean, it's difficult, man. Like there's not a lot of those people on the market that are easy to find. Like I would want Ndidi. Like that would be the perfect signing for United. I think Ndidi in that midfield 3 with them.
There's a couple of really good players. But
yeah, but anyway, this is the chance. Thank you for coming on the show. This is the chance for you to just give a few words to the fans out there. Just give them some inspirational words or anything, words of thanks or anything that you want to say. Shout out. This is your opportunity to shout out to the rest.
I just want to say thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure to be here. I've enjoyed having a chat with you. I always enjoy chatting with you. So thanks for having me again.
No problem.
And just to the fans, thanks for supporting, and thanks for all the support that you give the cricketers, and just in general, thank you for the support that you give to the sport. And just if you have goals and to be a cricketer one day, you're a youngster watching whatever, just keep working hard and keep your head down and aim for the stars.
Cool.
And just a shout out to the people that's close to me and family. That's all.
Awesome. So guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. It's been an amazing episode. I really enjoyed it, and I would hope to see Dayyaan again in the future. Don't forget to obviously like all the social media platforms at the bottom of the screen, like this video, subscribe, share it to all your friends. Please, Dayyaan, if you can, share it to your friends and your family as well, so that they can come back and watch it. And don't forget that we're going to be launching the second issue of the magazine, of the digital magazine, that's going to be coming on the 1st of August. So keep an eye out for that. If you haven't subscribed, get your first issue now. The next issue is going to be phenomenal. I think it's going to teach a lot of people about leadership, etc. So don't forget to do that. Thanks, guys, for watching, and we'll see you again soon.